After getting crushed by Colombia in a Copa America preparation friendly, the United States men's national team has the perfect opportunity to bounce back as they will be playing Brazil this Wednesday as the last friendly match prior to the 2024 Copa America. Will they bounce back? Can the United States upset Brazil? With a competent coach, the odds would be already low, so don't even get me started on how low the odds are under Greg Berhalter. And today, we are going to be doing a full match preview. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the United States versus Brazil match preview. This is how it's going to go. First, we will go through where and when to watch this game, the record between both teams, then any updates on the US men's national team, projected starting 11, and how I would approach this game. Lastly, I will do a quick dive into Brazil and what to expect from them. Now, if you're coming to Orlando for this game, we are doing a Patreon and YouTube members pickup game with free Tactical Manager jerseys and a few former professional players attending, so feel free to join our Patreon. The link is in the description of this video in case you care. But of course, the best way to support the channel for free is by hitting the like button. And as always, I am begging you to hit the like button because this is my moral obligation as a YouTube host. I don't have an option. If I don't beg you for likes, I am not a legit YouTube host. I'm a loser. I might still be a loser, but I'm trying not to be one. And then, of course, also comment your score prediction for the match this Wednesday between the United States and Brazil. The United States just lost 5-1 to Colombia, so I totally understand if you're not optimistic about this one, but let me know what you think the score will be, okay? Let's roll the intro. The United States and Brazil are set to face each other this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in Mickey Mouse's Kingdom at Orlando, Florida. But this game won't be played at the Interco Stadium where Orlando City normally plays. This match will be played at Camping World, which has a much larger capacity. If you're in the United States and you enjoy pain, you may watch this match at TNT, Telemundo, Universo, HBO Max, or Peacock. And as always, I will be doing a live watch along here at Tactical Manager TV. It's fun. We usually get thousands of people in the chat to watch me through the agonizing pain that is to be a US men's national team fan. It's somewhat similar to sitting on a toilet roughly 12 to 16 hours after eating some Taco Bell, if you know what I'm saying. Throughout history, these teams faced each other 19 times. And let me tell you, it's been a nightmare matchup for the US men's national team. No, seriously. It's bad. I haven't told you the record yet, but it's pretty freaking bad. Throughout these 19 games, Brazil has won 18 and the United States has won 1, all the way back in the 1998 CONCACAF Gold Cup. So as I said, this has been a nightmare matchup for the United States. Brazil almost always wins. With that said, let's talk about the current US men's national team. At the time of this recording, there aren't any confirmed injuries, but here are a few players that are questionable. The first one being Tyler Adams. He got no minutes against Colombia, and we're not sure or we're not certain if he'll get any minutes against Brazil. I heard he's not fully match fit. I would expect him to get at least 15 to 20 minutes against Brazil, to warm up for the Copa America, but we're not sure on that. The other one is Christian Pulisic. He was subbed out at halftime because of some muscle discomfort. He should be fine. There are no reports on him being injured, but maybe his minutes will be managed against Brazil. He'll be on a minute restriction. The other one is Josh Sargent. He's not expected to be available against Brazil due to some foot or ankle problems he's been dealing with pretty much all season long. And he's even questionable to be available for the Copa America. Don't expect to have Sargent there, but Pulisic will likely start. We'll talk about that in a second. And Tyler Adams, I would assume he'll get some minutes off the bench. So what's the projected starting 11 that Berhalter will put out to face Brazil? And Berhalter is usually as creative as his system, and he doesn't really change. So I'm guessing he's going to be doing a 4-3-3 once again. But I'll not be surprised if he finally tries a back three with wingbacks in a friendly against Brazil. But most likely it's a 4-3-3 with Matt Turner on goal, even though I think we should give Ethan Horvath a shot because Turner has been kind of stinky lately. Joe Scally as the right back. He played well against Colombia. Defensively, he did a good job against Luis Diaz. Now he'll probably have to mark Vinicius Jr., which is a level above that. Anthony Robinson will be the left back. Despite the horrible performance against Colombia, he's still our best left back. The two center backs that I think Berhalter will put out will be Miles Robinson and Chris Richards. Tim Ream was not good, even though I'd still start him, and Cameron Carter-Vickers was horrible off the bench, so I think Greg will give a shot to Miles and Richards. Johnny Cardoso will likely be the central defensive midfielder once again, then Wesson McKennie as the central midfielder and Gio Reyna as the 10. I am also assuming Tyler Adams can't go. Otherwise, if Tyler can play 45 minutes or more, I would expect Greg Berhalter to start Tyler over Johnny. Timothy Weah will be the right winger, and Christian Pulisic, as long as he's healthy, he's the left winger. The center forward most likely will be Balogun, once again, as it should be. The best way to face Brazil is to sit back and hit them in transition. Balogun is a transition merchant, so he has to start. Now, listen, if Berhalter does go with a back three with wingbacks, we haven't seen him do that in so long that it's kind of hard for me to predict what will be the lineup, so I'm not going to predict that one. You can let me know if he goes with a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. What do you think that lineup would look like? Would Weah play as a wingback? Would he go with Scally, McKennie? How would it look? Who would get benched? I don't know. If he does that, I'm open to it if he wants to test it in a friendly. I just don't think he'll do it. And if he does, it's kind of hard to predict what he will do. And I don't want to be mean, but he's also a bit of an idiot. So it's kind of hard to dive into his mind. Here are a couple important notes that the US men's national team has to be aware of. If we try to play out of the back, we are screwed. If our fullbacks are caught high up the field, with Vinicius and Rodrigo playing out wide, or maybe even Rafinha or Endrick drifting wide, we are also screwed. If we play a high line, we are screwed as well. And I don't usually do this, but since I know the US men's national team fairly well, and I know Brazil as much as I know the US men's national team, this is how I would approach this game against Brazil, or even a competitive game against Brazil, to try to defeat them or to try to pull a result. My standard formation for this game would be a 4-2-3-1 with Ethan Horvath on goal, Wesson McKennie and Anthony Robinson as the fullback. So McKennie as a right back, Robinson as a left back. And I know you're going to hate McKennie as a right back, but I'll explain why in a second in a different phase of play. The two center backs for me would be Chris Richards and Tim Ream. Johnny Cardoso and Yunus Musa would be the double pivot. Now, if Tyler Adams was available, I would actually go with Johnny and Tyler as the double pivot against Brazil, with Giovanni Reyna as the 10. The right winger would be Timothy Weah, the left winger would be Christian Pulisic, and floating Balogun would play up top. Now in possession, I would want us mainly to play in transition, by the way. But Wesson McKennie would be a right back, but he would operate as a center mid in possession, with Johnny Cardoso dropping deeper to help on the build out, allowing Gio Reyna to stay high up the field. And everything else you can just kind of see in the formation. The width would come on the left from the left back, which would be Anthony Robinson. He would push high up the field. While on the right, it would come from the right winger. Weston McKennie wouldn't be high up the field. He would be central in the midfield as a central midfielder. So as you can see, the Weston McKennie right back experiment wouldn't quite go in the same way that Berhalter wants his team to play. As for the defensive shape, I would want us to play in a 4-4-2, compact and narrow, force them wide, and when we regain possession, go direct. Find Gio so he can find Balogun running through the channels. And you know what? You play in transition, you let Brazil have the ball. Essentially, you sit back, soak up pressure, go for the draw, and try to punish the opponent on a counterattack. Now, before we talk about the Brazilian national team, you're going to hit the like button, and we're going to hear a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Underdog Fantasy. We'll be back in 1 minute. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, football as well. You know, it just adds an extra excitement to the game. And this summer, I will be playing Underdog Fantasy during the Copa America and Euros. You can download the app by using the link in the description of this video and use the promo code TMTV. Yes, please. Don't forget to use the code, and let me tell you why. Sign up with the code TMTV to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. I just Click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for the specific match and select the stats that I believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about it because it's not that easy to win. I'll also be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams during the Copa America and Olympics, posting my picks on X and Instagram, so you must stay tuned for that as well. And once again, I'm a professional hater, so usually I pick anything that will have me rooting for the downfall of that player. With that said, once again, thank you Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the channel. The link to play is in the description of this video, and the promo code once again is TMTV. Thank you Underdog Fantasy. Okay, time to talk about Brazil. After a very turbulent 2023 with a mix of poor performances, poor results, interim and part-time coaches, Brazil seems to be back on track after hiring Dorival Júnior as their head coach. Dorival doesn't really have a specific style of play. He usually just adapts to the players that he has, which is good from a national team standpoint. And he's also extremely experienced. Like, this dude has managed almost every single Brazilian club in the top division. No, seriously, he has coached over half of the clubs that are currently in the first division. The dude is old and wise. Maybe wise. We're not sure yet, but he's definitely old. Ever since he took over Brazil, he managed to beat England at Wembley. He also tied Spain in Madrid and defeated Mexico in the United States of America while using his subs. Pretty much the subs started the game, the reserves. I won't project the entire Brazilian starting 11, but based on what we have seen so far under Dorival Júnior, I believe we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 formation with a very fluid and ball-dominant team. Brazil will control possession, and this team is very good at changing the tempo of the game. They will slow things down, and when you least expect it, they will aggressively speed things up and try to catch you off guard. The backline is very strong regardless of who plays. You have Militão from Real Madrid, Marquinhos, Bremer, Gabriel Magalhães, Beraldo. The midfield, I would expect to see against the United States, will be with João Gomes, that plays with Wolves in the English Premier League, Bruno Guimarães, that plays for Newcastle, and Lucas Paquetá from West Ham. And yes, Paquetá will likely still play, despite the gambling allegations and possibly being banned from pro soccer by the FA in England. But that's not a topic for this video. Now up top, the forwards, that's where Brazil is deadly. And this is probably the biggest challenge Berhalter ever had ever since he took over the US men's national team. It is a friendly, but I would argue that this Brazilian side is the toughest team Berhalter has ever faced ever since he took charge of the US men's national team back in 2019. Vinicius Junior will be the left wing for sure. And this is a guy that really needs to step up. He is simply world class for Real Madrid, but when he plays for the Seleção Brasileira, he kind of sucks. And with Neymar not being available, it's time for Vinicius to step up. And I'm not sure if Dorival will have Rodrigo as a false nine or Rafinha on the right wing, but, you know, he could also go with Rodrigo on the right wing and Endrick up top as a 9. After all, Endrick has scored the past 3 matches for Brazil, including the goal that got them the win against England in Wembley, and then also the win with a late goal against Mexico a few days ago. And of course, not having Neymar hurts this team quite a bit. However, the last time Brazil won the Copa America, they also didn't have Neymar. And some might disagree with this right now, but Brazil is better than Colombia, the Colombian side that just destroyed the United States. So if the US does not take this game seriously, it could be a bloodbath. What do I think will happen in this game? How will it play out? And I don't think it'll be as bad as the Colombia game. If the United States is to lose, which I think they will lose, I think it won't be by much. It'll be much closer. The boys will step up and play much better, even though the opponent is tougher. If a loss as bad as the Colombia game happens, I would say just fire Berhalter right now, let BJ Callahan take over the Copa America, and then seek a very competent coach during the summer. But that won't happen. And y'all may be asking, what am I looking for in this game? Am I rooting for Brazil? Am I rooting for the United States? It's a friendly. I'm not really rooting for any of the national teams. I just want to see a good performance from Brazil and a good performance from the United States. If the US can pull a draw, it would be kind of cool. That's probably what I would prefer. But just my honest opinion, I don't see the US winning this, and I don't see them even tying this game. I think Brazil will win. I just think it will be tough, and I hope if Brazil wins, the US shows they can hang, shows they can compete. It can't be like the Colombia game where we just completely collapsed and lost 5-1. So my prediction for this game will be a 3-1 Brazil win, but a tough 3-1 Brazil win. Of course, that's assuming both national teams take this game seriously. It is a friendly, so it's kind of hard to predict what happens. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button before you go. And if you want to play pickup with us here on Tuesday, the day before the U.S. men's national team in Brazil play, join our Patreon. The link is in the description of this video. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day.